Do you like being lied to? Do you like being lied to, or do you love the truth? I'm going to tell you why you should love the truth, because the universe loves the truth. Things are easy when you live in truth. You don't have anything to hide. You're not trying to get away with anything. You're not fucking people over. You're just honest and truthful. And it's a lovely place to be. When I was an addict, I lived in a world of lies. And the truth never really served me. And when I got sober, I started noticing that the more I was interested in the truth, my friends, my family ate up with spirits and ate up with addicts and secrets and infidelities. These people hate the truth. They hate it. They'll make fun of the truth. They'll call you a conspiracy theory if you love the truth. But there's something going on in the world right now. And it looks like censorship is being talked about again. Like, I don't know why we keep having these conversations about censorship and communism and Marxism. I don't know why. I'm like, I thought we did this. I thought we already tried communism. It didn't work. It got a bunch of people killed. Censorship doesn't really work because the truth comes out anyway. And if you try to shut people up, you just prove them right anyway. I don't even know why we're fucking with this. You want people to be able to share their opinions, their thoughts, and beliefs so that we can see if they're cockamamie or not. Like with Aubrey Marcus and Jeff and Shalea Divine. This Saturday's big long ass special is going to be about debunking twin flames theory. So we want people to share their thoughts, beliefs, and opinions so that we can see if it's something that we want to take into ourselves. Like I want people to explain it all. But when you start censoring stuff, that's how bad ideas get into the culture. That's how cockamamie shit gets into the culture. That's how you get kids having sex changes, little kids having sex changes. How the fuck did that happen? Why wasn't that debated to death? So censorship allows for bad ideas to get in your brain. And there's a lot of shit out there that's a bad idea. But when you start talking the truth, it does make people feel some type of way. And from a shaman's perspective, censorship doesn't really matter because we have things like gnosis, we have source, we're connected to source. And plus, if you were raised by a narcissistic, alcoholic parent, happy birthday. You could see through this shit. You can see through bullshit. So you have a bullshit detector that's so fine-tuned. And you might have people in your life trying to clog up the signal. I'm not going to get into all that, but letting people go, telling them goodbye, because if you're obsessed with truth, you will love this episode. But also, if you're worried about censorship coming back around again, you don't have to really worry about it because most control mechanisms fail. So today on this episode, we're going to talk about why censorship don't even fucking matter. Are you ready? Let's go.
He was once a storm in human form, sharp tongue, cold soul, heart worn and torn, living like a ghost who missed his grave till the spirit sang out and called him brave. He got rewired by the great unknown, heard the call like a dial tone to the bone. So pull up a chair, enjoy the glow. This is the Shaman Patrick Show.
I like to get along with people. I like to be agreeable. And in my first year of recovery, I tried to be around my family again. Everybody in my family watched the news. I would go over to my aunt's house and she would have it on like all the time. She was obsessed with the news, obsessed with this shit. But I noticed that the news was saying things that weren't true. Why did I know this? Well, the ego had broken in me. I had a really good bullshit detector because I realized my own bullshit. But the more I tried to explain it to her, like she'd be really upset over something that she saw on the news. And I'm like, that's not true. And she'd be like, well, how do you know it's not true? And I'm like, because I have critical thinking skills. The world don't work the way that they say it does on the news. There's lots of things going on in the world that the news doesn't report on. If you're watching the news to get your information about how you should feel about something, Maybe start asking yourself. Maybe ask people that don't watch the news. Ask people that don't watch commercials. Ask people what their opinions or their thoughts are. You might say, like, here, I love asking people who have an outsider perspective. I listen to people that I don't disagree with, even though it might make me sick sometimes. That's a good spiritual practice. Some spiritual people want to bypass the current events. They want to act like they're above it all. They'll say things like, I don't watch the news. I don't pay attention to politics because I am a divine being. And I'm like, bitch, I'm a divine being too. But I got to listen to people who believe in untrue stuff. I have to help people come to consciousness. I got to know what's being talked about sometimes. Like sometimes people will bring things to me that are just cockamamie. And I have to do research on those things to see if that's something that they should be worried about or not. This has happened a lot over the past few years, like with viruses. Like I don't necessarily believe all that stuff. I don't believe it. I don't think viruses make you sick. So I don't believe in the hard line about a lot of stuff because it just, if you're outside of that system, you could look at that system and say, this shit's bananas. It's crazy. The world don't work this way. The world is not full of racism and homophobia and anti-Semitism. People are too busy. People are too busy to hate other people. And if you look out there, people who are making the loudest noises about all this stuff, they tend to be unemployed, living in their parents' basement, or being paid by instigators, paid protesters. That's a thing. Did you know a lot of these protests are paid for? Did you know that? So today we're going to watch a portion of a podcast from the Awakening Conversations podcast. I love these two ladies. They watched one of my videos and they talked about it on one of their podcasts. Kind of took me by surprise. They were talking about the concrete shaman. I'm like, oh, that's me. Oh, that's me. So we're going to watch a little bit of this podcast. They're talking about Candace Owens. I love Candace Owens. And a lot of spiritual people love Candace Owens. Religious people, not so much. Not so much. Can you believe that religious people hate people? Can you believe that Christians hate people? Other human people, they hate them? Isn't that wild to think about? That a religion based on love is about hating people? They think I'm deceived. But they're afraid to look they're afraid to look at any outside influences. Do you know when a religion tries to get you to not look or get opinions from people outside that religion? That is called a cult. A hardcore cult. And here's the thing. We're not starting a cult here. We have a cult-free guarantee. We think cults take too much energy, too much work. Our audience that we are cultivating here, we want you guys to not be easily offended. We want you guys to be able to entertain things that go against your beliefs. And I'm going to offend you sometimes. Because you don't get offended. Divine beings don't get offended. What gets offended? The ego. That's what gets offended in people. So if you ever get offended by something, it's the ego. Happy birthday. I just saved you $8,888. God, there is such a value in watching this channel. Oh, by the way, we're monetized now. You can join this channel now for $2 a month. And I've called the tier My People because I love knowing that you guys are my people. You're my people. Truth warriors, spiritual people, people who are sick of the bullshit. We love truth here. You are my people. You really are. So if you want to support this channel, you can sign up for $2 a month and you get emojis and stuff like that. So it's not a big deal. Do it if you want to. I don't care either way, but I thank you for any support that you give. All right, let's get on to this podcast. Let me make this look pretty. All right, ladies, take it away.
Welcome back to the Awakening Conversations podcast. My name is Kate and I'm here with my co-host Amanda. And in today's episode, we are exploring a charged and complex figure, Candace Owens. We're not interested in idolizing her or pedestaling her. And we're also not interested in condemning or furthering the mainstream narrative of who we are told that she is. Instead, we want to reflect on what she represents in the larger field of collective awakening. Now, we know that she elicits some very strong reactions from people, and we're not here to debate her politics or who she is. We're really interested in asking, why does she trigger such strong reactions? What does her voice represent in a world where self-censorship is the norm? And what does our reaction to her say about our own awakening? We feel that
I think the people that hate Candace Owens, they got something to hide. They got something to hide. That's what I think. I think Candace Owens is one of the most spiritual people on YouTube. I've been watching Candy for a while, and I've watched her have all of these awakenings around various topics and various subjects. She converted to Catholicism, and I think she's gonna have an awakening about that as well. I'm excited. I love watching her journey. I've read her book Blackout. I don't know where our copy of Blackout went, but I love Candace. I love all people. Actually, I don't hate people. I don't hate on people. I love people. But Candace she's got some divine spark in her.
that Candace represents more than just a single person, that she is in many ways an archetype. She represents a disruptor, a truth teller, a polarizer. And we're really, really interested in asking what it means when someone speaks out, especially when it can come at a great cost to themselves. And as always, we invite you to listen with curiosity. Feel free to suspend any strong feelings, judgments, emotions you have in this moment until the end of the episode, and really sit with the discomfort as we explore the energetic terrain beneath the surface.
Now, this shit is coming to the surface. That's why censorship doesn't matter, because it's already out. Too many people already know the truth. So if they censor it on the internet, ask a friend. Ask a friend what's going on. I could tell you what's going on. I would be happy to tell you what's going on. But if I told you what was going on, you would think that it was crazy, because it does sound crazy. It does sound crazy when you and it's not like I have information that is out of left field, so to speak. I mean, I've seen receipts, and our song for today is "Truth Got Receipts." I've seen receipts from things. I've broken that spell in me, that egoic spell. You know, whatever is happening on this planet, it's coming hard. You know, the corruption is being called out. The bullshit's being called out. The mechanisms of control are being called out. Like, people are waking up to the fact that the food supply is poisoned. You can't drink the water. You can't take the medications. You can't eat the food. What are you going to do? Well, you have one choice. You have to awaken.
Amanda, really looking forward to this conversation with you, because I know that we've kind of gone back and forth on it. And as we're going to really unpack here, there's a real feeling of, wow, how do we go about diving into a conversation like this? And then personally for me, lots of different weird feelings come up, like, should we even go there? Why is it so challenging for us to even start to have a conversation about someone such as Candace Owens and what she represents?
I'm going to say that for me, some people wanted me to make an episode about Bridget McCrone being a man. And I was like, I don't know if I want to talk about this. I don't know. But these ladies right here, they're opening the door for me to be able to talk about it. And so, see, it's happening anyway. People are going to talk about this shit. They are. It's happening. So I wanted a sign to show that I could talk about it. That's the thing about that Aubrey Marcus situation. It's kind of given us all permission to talk about it, because I thought that my opinion about it all was going to be unpopular. I thought that my perspective, the first video I made about Aubrey Marcus, I thought it was going to be an unpopular take, because that's what I've experienced in talking to spiritual people about the real shit. I thought it was going to be unpopular, but it wasn't. When that video got 12,000 views, I was like, okay, well, maybe it's not so unpopular. And then the more videos I made and the more people I heard from, I'm like, okay, this is kind of a movement now. It's a movement towards truth. It's a movement towards calling out bullshit. I am here for it. I love truth. And so people feel weird about Candace Owens, and I think they've been told to view Candace in a certain way. In a righteous world, she's an investigative journalist. In a righteous world, she would have won Pulitzers by now. She goes to dark places. She's a fighter. And that kind of shit should be celebrated whether you agree with her or not.
Yeah. Well, from my perspective, we have been on the receiving end of a lot of conditioning and programming about who she is. I realized this for myself back in 2020. I had a bit of an awakening about multiple public figures, and I realized that my perception of them was built off of the stories of narratives that were created about these people. I will say that the first person that actually really brought this to life is a very polarizing and triggering figure, and
I'm going to say mine first. My awakening was the Jussie Smollett thing when he faked a hate crime against gay people, and that meant something to me because I said, when you fake a hate crime against a gay person, that makes actual hate crimes against gay people less. I thought it was stupid. I thought it was dumb. I thought it was short-sighted. And I found out that when that event happened, little old Kamala Harris had this anti-lynching bill that she slid across. She got in, and it was this media event that caused that anti-lynching bill to be passed. Why are we passing an anti-lynching bill in 2019? I'm telling you, you may not believe this or not, but racism was over in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s. It was done. It was ludicrous to think that there was still racism in this world. Who the fuck brought this shit back? Because all the racists were getting old. The racists were going to die out. Who brought this shit back? That was my big awakening. I'm like, they keep bringing this shit back for some reason. Why do they keep bringing it back?
It's Donald Trump. I personally never cared for him, but I didn't really listen to him. I didn't really listen to those speaking that were really fervently against him either. But I was just absorbing the stories about who he is, what he said, like, oh, he said this crazy thing. And one day I was listening to this crazy thing that he supposedly said. I think it was like CNN was talking about, it was related to COVID, of course. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And then somehow I found myself actually listening to everything he said about it. And I was like,
oh, don't do that, honey. Don't listen. I went through the same thing. And this is funny. This is funny because I was told to hate Donald Trump. I was told by my fellow gays that he was racist, homophobic, all of these things. I was told, and I got to a point in my life where like I just don't believe everything I hear anymore. So when people would repeat to me the crazy things that Trump said, I actually wanted to hear from him. That's when I started listening to podcasts and press conferences. I didn't listen to news coverage anymore. I wanted to hear the press conferences. And yeah, it does take a lot longer to do that. It takes a lot longer to go to the source and hear them out. I do that with psychiatrists. I do it with lawyers. I do it with doctors. I would go, if I wanted to know something, I would go to the source and see what they thought about it. So a lot of my schooling and learning was by finding people that I could ask questions and then ask those questions to them instead of just watching the news. Yeah, it takes a little bit more time. Yeah, not everybody's going to be able to do it. But in this day and age, if you are just believing everything that you hear and not looking beyond the surface, that is crazy. That is stupid. And that will keep you delusional. And you'll never know the truth about anything. Why don't people want to know the truth about stuff? Because it's uncomfortable. And like she said in this podcast, getting through that discomfort, when you get through that discomfort and you find that many of your beliefs are false beliefs, what do you think happens? Your health issues improve. Your mind is clearer. you're not having to take as many drugs or substances to deal. Because if you believe a bunch of lies and have a bunch of false beliefs, you're living in an alternate reality. You may as well be living in fucking Narnia if you believe things that you hear on the news, because it's not even true anyway. What's true is true and what's false is false. I don't know why this is so fucking hard to get across to people. What's true is true and what's false is false. For those of you who have reached that, like, oh, it's not true, so I don't even have to pay attention to it. It's not even true. And that's why censorship doesn't even really matter, because what are they censoring? They're probably censoring the truth. There's probably something that's going to come out that's going to make some people feel some type of way. And something curious, I was going to go over to X and show you a video that explains more about what's going on in the world, and X is down. So no, I can't even show you a video about what's going on in the world. You're just going to have to find it for yourself. You're going to have to find it for yourself. You're going to have to realize it, because the truth cannot be told. It has to be realized. You're like, oh, and it's actually not all that devastating, but you know, there is something going on in the world. Corruption, tomfoolery, shenanigans. Why don't people want to know? Why don't people want to know? Because I used to think it was crazy, but man, clarity feels clear. It sure as fuck does. But when I started looking at you know what they would say that Donald Trump said something crazy, but then I would go listen to what he actually said, and it wasn't actually all that crazy. It wasn't all that crazy at all.
Wait a minute. What they said about him and what he actually said, those are two different things. And it just like, what can happen with an awakening is you realize one thing is a lie, and then you ask the question, what else is a lie?
What else is a lie?
So
that's what I did. I was like, okay, so if this Jussie Smollett thing is a lie, what else are they lying about? And I found out they're lying about almost everything. See, I used to think the news just got things wrong. I mean, I went to school for broadcast journalism. I'm like, yeah, they get stuff wrong. In the rush for a deadline, they might get some things wrong. I'm like, they're probably doing corrections. But when they didn't correct this Jussie Smollett thing, when they didn't correct it at all, let me see if when they didn't correct it at all, they don't mention the thing at all. Look, there's no mention of his crime on this at all. Like, it's been erased. Yeah, he's in a new show. So that fake hate crime is just memory hold. Like, if you didn't know about it, you wouldn't know about it. I think that was a horrible fucking thing. And it's just memory hold. You Google Jussie Smollett right now, that shit don't even come up. Isn't that crazy? So yeah, they're lying. They don't want people to know that that was a psyop, a psyop, because they think you're stupid. They think you're not going to look this shit up. And people who look shit up are not stupid.
I started digging in, and where else have they painted him this way? Whether he's a good guy or not a great guy, like, let's just be honest. Like, let's not create narratives about people. But what really taught me is that we need to have firsthand experiences with a person before casting judgment on them. Our stories about someone based upon what someone tells you who they are, or based upon what they're actually saying, what's our body actually telling us about these individuals. And so that happened with him. And then also multiple people, and Candace Owens being one of them. I didn't listen to her because I just heard she's right wing. She has crazy ideas. And then I started listening to her, and I'm like, well, I see why they don't want her to, they want to quiet.
Yeah. So, you know, Candace Owens, like, I voted Democrat my whole life. And then I had a kind of an awakening. And so Candace Owens was doing this Blexit thing where blacks could exit the Democrat Party. There was a similar thing that was going on with gay people, but it didn't really get that much attention. You know, like, we were not jumping ship to go be Republicans, but we were like, this kind of shit is whatever y'all are doing. The Democrats lying, manipulating, cheating. stealing. Like, we could all see it. It was like, this is fucking crazy. And so we were interested in what Candace was saying, because she was speaking a lot of truth about the history of the Democrat Party and like, what did we bought into? What did we fall for? The Democrats fooled me into thinking that they had my best interest at heart. And I'm not very political anymore, but I used to be very political. I used to think Republicans were just evil and bad. And all the while, here's the Democrat Party killing my dreams, making me a victim, telling me that I was a victim, telling me that there was such a thing as homophobia and that Republicans hated me and that my rights were in danger. My rights were never in danger. If anything is in danger of my rights, it's that fucking party. Oh God. So I had an awakening around that. I had a huge awakening, and Candace was one of those people that was really helping me sort the truth out for myself, sorting it out for myself. I felt duped by the Democrats. I felt duped by that. And now I'm happy to no longer be all that political, but I still have to interact with people who are overly political or hateful, who think that conservatives are bad, or people who think that Democrats are bad. It's just, when you have an awakening like that, it changes your life. It changes your worldview. I no longer fall for a lot of political bullshit anymore. Thanks to Candace Owens. Thanks to her. She's had a profound impact on my life, my marriage, and she's a real trooper. She really is.
It hurt because what I realized is that these people are calling out structures that are not serving the people, and they're calling out the status quo. And so I personally have listened to a lot of Candace Owens, and also because of the story that's been created about her, what people associate with her, she has all these labels, these code words, backed up to the code words. I started to recognize that when code words were used, or I'd hear a code word for a person, like, oh, okay, I should go actually listen to what they're saying. For example, this person is a racist. This person.
Oh yeah, the code words. Like when they would call somebody a racist, it's because they don't want you to listen to them. And then if you go listen to somebody that they call a racist, you find out they're actually not racist at all. They're probably the opposite of racist. The same thing with anti-Semitic, sexist, misogynist, any of those code words, those dog whistles, if you will. They're probably actually the opposite of that.
This person is right wing. This person is a conspiracy theorist. Then that was the message to me. I'm like, okay, I need to go listen to the actual source and make up my own mind. And we live in this world where if I were to...
Well, honey, that's the danger. They don't want you making up your own mind, because if you made up your own mind, you would discover that this shit is bananas. BANANAS. This shit is bananas. That's, if you were to make up your own mind about all this crap that they have out there, you would come to the conclusion that this is for crazy people by crazy people.
Align with someone in certain ways, it doesn't mean I have to align with them in every aspect of who they are, what they believe, what they propose. But that doesn't mean that they're also this term that's being used by the power structure that's trying to discredit who they are. And so even knowing that, I still keep it to a limited circle in terms of I listen to what Candace Owens has to say. I've found that she's really in pursuit of truth. Like that's who I've judged her to be. She's someone who is trying, and whether she gets some things wrong or not, that is another, like, she doesn't have to get it right all the time, but what is underlying what she's doing? To me, she is pursuing truth, and that is quite dangerous. And so I understand why she gets put in these boxes. But
so why is pursuing truth so dangerous? Isn't that crazy? Do that many people have that much to hide? Like, if you're somebody who has a lot to hide, and if you've got a lot of secrets, let me tell you, they are killing you softly. They are killing you softly. Look, I'm somebody, I have a checkered past. I've got things that people could find out about me that would paint me in not such a great light. But you see, I was very sick then too. I was an alcoholic. I'm an addict. I'm very compassionate to people who have done things wrong, and I give them an opportunity to atone for that, to make amends for that, because I think that that is the way forward through this. So what? You're a corrupt politician. Okay, well, guess what? We love you anyway. You may have been backed into a corner. You may have felt like that you had no choice. They may have threatened your family. They may have threatened your loved one or whatever, but let's move forward through this. Okay? But the more people try to cover stuff up that they do, the more people, we have to develop an attitude of it's okay. We just want the lies to stop. We just want this psychopathic system to stop being psychopathic. And maybe they don't value human life. Maybe they don't care about us. Maybe that's something too. But there is something so fucking screwy and rotten with all of this that if somebody will tell me that Candace Owens is an anti-Semitic, and I'll say, well, I've listened to a lot of Candace Owens. She's actually not anti-Semitic at all. And I said, I've watched almost everything she's done. Not so much lately because there's a lot of content, but if I don't listen to anti-Semites. I don't listen to racist people. I don't listen to homophobic people. So why would you still believe that she's an anti-Semitic? And I've had people say she is an anti-Semitic. And I go, well, how do you know this? Here, watch this. I'm not watching anything. I'm not, it's like, it's crazy. It is delusional. It's insane. And I don't listen to anti-Semitic people. I don't listen to that shit. Unless I want to listen to it to disagree. But I definitely don't take it seriously or pay attention to it. But it's the same sort of delusional thing when somebody will tell me something about myself and I'll say, that's not true. And they'll say, yes, it is. It's so cockamamie and cockadoodle. It is wild. And when people get called names, when people get labeled things, I tend to be more interested in finding out if that's true or not. I definitely do. I love the truth because the truth feels good. And why is it so dangerous to seek the truth about something? I follow this, like I can know the truth about something and I don't need to call anybody out on it. I don't need to call anybody out on it at all. I could just know the truth about something. I work with people one-on-one. I work with people in addiction and alcoholism. They tell me a lot of stuff, but nobody else needs to know about it. But if they start trying, like here, I'm going to speak for myself here, but the more I tried to cover stuff up, people could see it anyway. And that's why censorship doesn't matter. Like my father was a dry drunk and he tried to cover up his infidelity, but you know what? People knew it anyway. He still tried to cover it up. It caused so many problems for my mom and my sisters and me, the cover up. Like we knew my dad was cheating on my mom. We knew that he had a child with another woman. We knew all this shit, but he still kept trying to cover it up, sending me to a mental hospital, overlooking my sister's addiction. Like it is so damaging when you try to cover it up, but people know it anyway. People know it anyway. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. It's the dumbest shit ever. For real. It's so dumb.
Like for us having to look at the discomfort of even being public and speaking that she might not be this horrible person that the narrative wants us to believe she is. Like that's actually, we risk people coming at us with those labels, right?
Honey, I think you're doing an incredible job of explaining it. And if anybody comes at you with those labels, those are not your people. Your people are going to listen to you and say, you know what? Yeah, because my people love truth. My people love the discomfort because getting through that discomfort is a way of getting to the truth because the ego doesn't want you realizing the truth. The ego is actually causing the discomfort.
And we've had these conversations about our voice and the body and how it's so important to use our voices, but it's also important to recognize where we are self-censoring and not
Mm.
speaking because we have these like invisible, unconscious, essentially like shackles on our voice that we don't speak because we see unconsciously, we see what happens if
Yeah.
we step out of line with our voice. And so this, for me, I won't speak for you, but maybe you can share. For me, this is speaking what feels uncomfortable and risking what what do I fear is people coming at me and labeling me as whatever derogatory term they want to use and put me in a box. And I'll stop right there and pass the baton to you.
Self-censorship is killing you. It is. And one of the reasons why I'm so upfront and honest about the things that go on in my life is because I have to be. In recovery, I have to be honest. And also, I come from a dysfunctional family. Merrick comes from a dysfunctional family. These people spread lies and rumors about us. And so we have to speak the truth about what's going on with us because they do spread these lies and rumors about us. And so last summer, Merrick and I went to Miami to visit his grandmother. But in talking to his grandmother, she had all these weird ideas about me and Merrick. And I couldn't figure out where they were coming from because she would tell me things. And I use this example because apparently I'm only with Merrick for money. That was news to me. And also I have to have the best of everything, which was also news to me. There were a lot of things she said to me and I was like, that's not true. And she would say, well, yes, it is. And I said, where are you getting this? Who's telling you this? Like, this is the first time I've ever spent any significant time with you. Why do you believe all these things about me that are not true? She just couldn't sort it out for herself. And I'm like, well, where is this coming from? Because it was so disturbing to me that you could not correct an assumption that somebody had made about me. And one of the things was, I don't have my original teeth because I'm a drug addict. Drug addicts and shamans, you don't usually have all your original parts. But somehow she was under the delusion that I had implants. And implants cost like $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. And so she said something about my $1 million smile. And I'm like, my dentures that I had to put on a credit card. Otherwise I wasn't going to eat. And she said, well, I heard you had implants. And I'm like, but I didn't. I don't have the money for implants. Where do you think I would get the money for implants? And she said, oh, well, they look expensive. And she couldn't admit that she was wrong. She never admitted she was wrong about anything, any assumption that she made. She just doubled down. She just doubled down on these assumptions that she made about me. I'm like, why does she need these things to be true? Well, the result of that entire trip was when I got back home, I'm like, okay, because I don't know why these people believe things about me that are not true. Are they talking to somebody in my family? Are they talking to somebody is somebody in our inner circle saying things? Turned out it was his brother. But at the same time, I'm like, I need to get really clear on the truth. I got to get so fucking crystal clear on the truth. And I made a series of YouTube videos on our other channel at Concrete Shamanism. I call it the Truth Series. And each day I made a video where I worked to get to the truth, where I cut through the noise of everything, because Merrick's father seemed interested in getting me to believe things that weren't. It was so fucking sick. One of the sickest things that I've ever been through. It was causing me IBS. It was causing me all sorts of trouble, but I couldn't understand why I could not correct an assumption. It's because somebody in the family needed their story about me to be true for whatever cockamamie shit they had planned. And the truth about me being honest, being forthright, being sober, being able to sense gaslighting, narcissistic behavior was a threat to whoever this person was. Hell, it could be Merrick's mom or his dad. Who the fuck knows? The thing is, you'll never ever know who's behind it. You'll never know who it is who's trying to cover shit up. And you know what? I don't even care. I don't even fucking care. So Merrick and I, we said, you know what? We have got to be honest on our channel, probably more honest than we want to be. I don't want to tell this shit, but when you have family members telling lies about you to other people, that is fucked up. And I used to censor myself because I didn't want to piss them off. Like, I had compassion for them. I didn't want to call them out publicly for the shit that they were pulling on me. But I realized this was killing me. This was slowly eroding me. Not only that, it was preventing me from making YouTube videos because I wanted to talk about the stuff that was going on in my life, but I had to pick and choose. I had to lie on camera for people. And I've realized I'm not lying for other people. And here's the thing. If a family member is watching this right now, nobody cares about your secrets. Nobody gives a shit about you. Nobody gives a shit about me. What do we give a shit about? Healing, growth, harmony, love. And the shit that I was willing to put myself through to keep other people's secrets that nobody even fucking cares about in the first place. Crazy. So fucking crazy. So I had to get really sorted out on the truth. What's true is true and what's false is false. And that's it. And I don't lie to people anymore. I don't try to cover up things anymore, but it was ruining my content. It was ruining my spiritual lessons. It was ruining my fucking life, keeping secrets for other people. And so when Merrick's brother relapsed last year and the rest of his family covered up for it, I was like, oh my fucking God, I got to get the fuck out of this situation. Holy shit, this is going to get me killed. It's going to ruin my life. And it was ruining my life. So maybe at some point in your life, you're going to have a situation where the truth is the only thing that's going to get you through. And so as members of my family and Merrick's family want to portray us as the crazy ones, they want to financially ruin us because if we're financially ruined, they think we won't be able to tell the truth about what's going on. Anybody that covers up for somebody's relapse is trying to get that person killed. It's an assassination attempt. And I don't like it. I think it's fucked up. So yeah, I really would rather not talk about this particular shit going on in my life, but remaining silent about it. Can't really do that either. And you might get faced with choices like this. Like if you have family members or coworkers even spreading lies and rumors about you, well, the only thing you can do is just tell the truth. Even if you'd rather not tell the truth about something. It is uncomfortable. It sucks. But Merrick and I have talked at length about this. Like how much of our situation do we reveal to the people who consume our content? Well, if we didn't tell you about it, that would be lying as well. So sometimes when you lie for other people, it really hurts. It's not living in truth and honesty at all. And I said that clear. I don't really want to talk about it too much all the time, but Merrick and I have been going through some extremely fucked up, mind-bending Hellraiser movie, H.P. Lovecraft shit for the past couple of years from people in our own fucking families. Nobody ever told us we had to protect ourselves from our own families.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing that comes up is as we've prepared for this conversation, you know, like what I really love about why we're talking about it is it's another piece of this awakening puzzle, right? Like as I keep saying, I feel like I keep saying, we're getting these really loud, clear, big opportunities, examples to have great insight, great awakening, great opening, great shifts in our life with all the things we're being presented. And here we have another one, because as you spend some time, you know, doing your own observation of this person known as Candace Owens, you tap in from your, okay, let me take off the, you know, the labels, the, you know, how I've been told to perceive her, and listen for myself and listen to some of the content that she covers, and then, you know, look into this current situation she's in, and we'll tap into a little bit of that just to give people who don't know an idea. But when we sit back and we do that, like, it's like, wow, like this particular situation to me really does feel like we're getting, again, this, like, I don't know, the fight between truth voice dark. The oppression is just going up and getting louder. I don't know. It's like, to me, I just get this upward energy of like, it's rising. It's like the battle's getting higher and we're fighting it out. And this woman is not afraid, and she's not really willing to back down, even though she's been really, pressured to do so. And my initial feelings when we did this was, there's discomfort, because she's seen by many people in a certain way. What would that mean? What would people think if we even open the door, right? So my biggest fear is, what are other people going to think? Then what are they going to how are they going to categorize me? Because I think the challenge is when people are labeled in these ways, as you said, conspiracy theorists, left, right wing, racist, we know who they are. We've closed the box. That's who they are. And so if we are to speak in any way that holds, really, we've got to allow the nuance here that people are not one thing. How can we listen to anything anyone's saying with breadth? And then I guess that beautiful word of nuance, how can we hold all conversation in this broader frame to be as you just said, maybe some of what she's saying is right. Maybe some of it is wrong, but what is the intention behind what she's sharing?
And that's, I want to bring in some Toltec wisdom here. They say be impeccable with your word. And some people think it means, essentially it's not talking shit about yourself or other people. And it's using your word in the direction of truth and love. Sometimes you're going to say things that are going to piss people off. That's also being impeccable with your word. Because if you use your word in the direction of truth and love, that is being impeccable with your word. But if you cover up for other people's sins, if you cover up for people's relapses, if you cover up the messy parts of your life that you'd rather other people not know about, that's also not being impeccable with your word. Spirit's trying to take my voice away. So, when I first came across Toltec wisdom, and it's about self-mastery, I tried to not call out any family members who were destroying my finances or my businesses or business opportunities or getting me fired from jobs or whatever. And when I went to work at that rehab, my main concern was that I'd have a family member call that job to try to get me fired. That's how these families financially impoverish you. And so Merrick and I were kind of backed into a corner regarding this. We have got to be successful on YouTube. We've got to do this. We don't have any other choice, because with everybody in his family spreading these rumors and everybody in my family spreading these rumors, what are we supposed to do? Just die? I think that's the goal. I think that's the goal with this shit. Just die, because they don't want to look in themselves and heal things. And my family doesn't want to do that. So we were backed into a corner to tell the truth about this stuff. And yeah, it's uncomfortable. Yeah, it's messed up. But I think, and I'm not calling them bad people. I'm calling them addicts, alcoholics, very sick people, because only sick people would act this way. And so you do have compassion for people who try to cover stuff up. But I've told every member of my family, every member of Merrick's family, honey, when you're ready to heal, I am here. When you're ready to step into truth and love, I am here for you. But I don't like being lied to. I don't like being gaslit. And for me, it's a health liability. It's a financial liability. You go on wild goose chases. People running interference. If you come from an alcoholic home, you're not going to know the truth about anything. And so I had situations go on with my sister. My sister tried to get sober and my father sabotaged it. The same thing happened in Merrick's family. His brother tried to get sober and his father sabotaged it. It's cookie cutter, easy bake. It's the same fucking thing. It's so fucking boring. It's so boring. And I really didn't think it was going to happen in Merrick's family but dysfunctional families going defunct. That's part of it. And the last time I talked to Merrick's dad on the phone, he was so offended. He said, I'm not dysfunctional. I'm not dysfunctional. And I'm like, oh, okay. It's a lost cause. It's a lost cause. It's a complete lost cause. There's no use in spending any energy on this relationship whatsoever, because you cannot be in relationship with fake people. You can't be real with fake people. They don't want you being real. And for a while, I was scared of Merrick's dad because he does have a lot of resources and stuff like that. He could really destroy me if he wanted to. And he's hinted at such. And so, but I'm not scared of that anymore. And censor me, destroy me. It don't fucking matter because the truth is out anyway. And I feel the same way with any news stories or anything like that. Everybody knows the truth about everything. Like if you have an alcoholic child, you're fucked up parents. There you go. If one of your kids is an addict, if one of your kids is gay, if one of your kids is dating people older than them, you're a fucked up parent. You're a terrible parent. Just say, yeah, I was a terrible parent. So what? So what? I'm not perfect. But man, families like this, they have to preserve that image. Anything fucks with that image of perfection. That person, the person who fucks with that image of projection, they're probably going to overdose, get in an accident, get killed, murdered. Like, people will go to such disgusting lengths to preserve that perfect image. So we got to stop expecting perfection out of people. We got to start letting our spiritual teachers, our leaders be flawed, deeply flawed. I'm a deeply flawed person. I'm so fucking flawed. I'm so fucking flawed. But so is everybody. So is everybody. So I think when we want to speak the truth, we also have to stop expecting people to be perfect. We all make decisions and choices. And if anybody in my family or Merrick's family is still listening, I know that you were forced to make choices in your past that you may not have wanted to make. I'm there, but I want to love you. I want to be in relationship with all of you. I want to be in relationship. I think it's sad to think that I will never see my father-in-law again. I think it's sad to think that I will never see my sister again. Do you think I fucking want that? No, I had to choose that for self-preservation. I was backed into a corner. It was either my life or going along with y'all's bullshit.
So, yeah, for me, preparing for this call, it's been this like, ooh, like this feels edgy because like there's such a, what's the word? Like, well, there's so much, I want to say hate was probably a word, or dislike, and like labeling and judgment of who she is, like to get to that conversation, like, okay, like that can be reflected back to you. So that's where that self-censorship comes into our lives, is like, well, you know, I might have taken the time to explore this and create my own self-assessment and judgment or opinion or beliefs, set my own beliefs, but I'm just going to keep that to myself, because if I was to say something, we're so quick to judge and label, oh, you're this, you're that, you're on that side and not that side. And that's just so black and white. And that means that we've closed the door on anything else being possible. And I think that's part of what this awakening and what she represents is really about, is seeing that there's more than just this black and white. How can we create that space for nuance? How can we even open the door to like learn more, give people the opportunity to present stuff to us, present, you know, growth opportunities for us through what they share, rather than just going, it's this or it's that. You know, like that's what I really feel about that. I'm going to pause there.
Yeah, I agree so much with what you said. And the nuance is the word. The power structures cannot, I'm going to say, quote unquote, win with nuance. They have to create the extremes, and only if you don't side with us, it's like it's us or them. You either side with our viewpoint. If you even try to dance anywhere in the middle, we're going to label you and put you in that box over there. And people see that unconsciously. Like I remember in 2020, I just felt guidance to read 1984, and it was...
Yeah, read 1984. Just read it again. You may have read it in school, but read it before. All that propaganda from 2020, it's described in 1984. Merrick read that book in 2020. I said, babe, you got to read this book again. He read it in school and he was reading it again. And it's like, yeah, this is crazy. It's like 1984 was the handbook for 2020. and now that this censorship is coming, which I don't think it's really going to, because here's the thing. There's a higher order at play. Control systems always fail. It always fails. And as soon as they start censoring things, they're making too big of a show of it. You see, like silent, like they're just making too big of a show of it. So I think it's just a psyop. I think it's a psyop. But then again, there's an awakening happening on this planet, in this country. More and more people are awakening every day. Can't be stopped. And one person in alignment is more powerful than a million who are not. And here's the thing, for all the bad people out there, I love you. I love you. I know you're acting out of a place of fear. I know that you might have some weird religious beliefs as well. But you know what? We're all people. We're all people. We're all just trying to survive. But if you have to subjugate and enslave other people to get ahead, if you're a father and you have to sabotage your own children just so that you can be right, I forgive you 100 times over. I forgive you because I have done fucked up things in my life, and I've been held responsible for them by the courts, by the legal systems, by other people. It's a sublime experience. It's a profound experience. And you know what? Censorship doesn't even work anyway, because God is going to make sure that the truth comes through somehow. It's going to reach to me. You know, even with all the fucked up shit going on in my family, don't you know that there were clues, that God left clues for me to see it? I mean, and literally, I found out things about my family and Merrick's family through sheer coincidence and accident. Things that I was never supposed to know. Because the stuff that you know about pales in comparison to the stuff that you don't know about. I stumbled upon some of these schemes and machinations. I just walked right into them. Something was said accidentally. I talked to the wrong people. So in my family, no one is allowed to talk to me without going through somebody else. And in Merrick's family, no one is allowed to talk to Merrick unless they go through his family. Why is it the same fucking boring ass script? So nobody in Merrick's family is talking to him and nobody in my family is talking to me, but they're all talking to each other. That's how you know this shit is going on. That's your evidence. That's your clue. So, you know, in my family, I'm angry. I'm bitter. I think Merrick's family is saying the same things because of the things that they say, that we don't listen, that we don't understand. We don't get it. Oh, honey, we probably get it more than you do. We know we get it more than you do. We just want to love our family. We just want to love them. But again, I said we got backed into a corner where we had to choose between health, wellness, and abundance, or what they wanted for us. I think they want us to be poor and downtrodden, and because I think they're trying to prove that sobriety doesn't work. This is where you get it. This is where you get into trouble with dry drunks. Because see, dry drunks, they want to go back to drinking. And if you've got a sober, happy person in your life and they're not drinking and they're having fun, the dry drunk will try to fuck that person up. That's why you can't have dry drunks in your life. Dry drunks drive me nuts. Dry drunks drive everybody nuts. But when you're around people who are dry, if you're a sober person, a dry person has one mission: to get you to relapse. And I think that's what Merrick's family tried to do. And I know that's what my family was trying to do. If we could just relapse and put everything back the way it was. Please relapse, Merrick. Please relapse, Patrick. We're dying in here. We just want to drink. We just need to get high. That's what I hear from people. Would you please relapse so I can go back to drinking? Would you please relapse so I can go back to popping pills? That's what dry people in your life will feel like. And I think it's curious. Like, we get a lot of shit from our families, but we're the fucking sober ones. Oh, God. It's crazy because it's true.
I remember walking on the beach and just feeling like having this really powerful vision of what self-censorship actually means, and like how big of a role that's going to play in the years ahead, and how the people in the middle, the nuanced people, are actually the larger group, but they're quiet because they see what happens if they try to express that nuance.
Yeah.
They get put in that category and it's just easier to not speak. And so there's this false perception of what people believe because those that do see nuance, they're quiet. So it's social media, what's out there on the internet is distortion. And
see, that's for those of us who see the nuance. I think we have to speak up. I think it's our duty to speak up about this stuff. And yeah, it's uncomfortable but because it is so loud on the internet, that black and white, us versus them thinking is so loud. Like I'll watch a video about Candace Owens on this show, and then I'll watch a video about something else and something else and something else. And I want to set that standard for the Shaman Patrick show that we're going to look at all types of stuff to get to that nuance. I think it's a duty of all of us to be open to the nuances and not such the extreme distorted stuff. Let's get into the thorny truths about it.
And, throw in isolation and people not interacting in person, and maybe people not, losing the ability to, if they're online all the time and they're just getting this polarized view of the world, then you could go back into real life and it's like you mention a word that signals something. Oh, you're in that box. Oh,
yeah.
My cousin is my cousin is this, and now families are divided, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy that they're not different people than they used to be, but we've been received this messaging of like, okay, they say this word, put them in that camp, don't associate with them, right?
Yeah, even like Merrick's aunt is violently anti-Trump. She's like, she hates that man. And I tried to have real conversations with her. And, when she suspected that I was a Trump supporter, they did horrible things to me. Like members of Merrick's family. I mean, I was like, I'm a new part of this family and they're already calling me names. They're already making fun of me. They're already putting me down. I barely know you people. And you're already making fun of me for being a suspected Trump supporter. And I told you I'm not very political. And they said, yes, you are. Like if you're not actively against President Trump, you're evil. You're evil. And I was like, what if I just don't care? What if I just don't care? You're very bad. So eventually you start self-censoring. You start not talking to people. You don't start thinking up. You don't start sticking up for yourself. You just sort of let these loudmouth bitches and motherfuckers talk and get away with being nasty to each other. That killed me inside. It would kill anybody inside. God, I am so glad. I'm so glad.
Right? Yeah. And I mean, and this is, the self-censorship is perpetuated because of that. It's almost like it's a tool used to shut you up. Like this labeling and then the shame that can come with that when, we're perceived in a certain way, or these labels are used to discredit, and really to close us down and to shut us up.
Yeah, I think we've 5 years out from 2020, right? That's pretty wild too. Yeah. Like this really was this initiation of this censorship period. And now people are, I think, using my hands a lot, people are ready, feeling this activation, I think, to use our voices. And I think what Candace Owen represents is this person who, what's funny, that someone I listen to refers to as Candace as a narcissist, and maybe there is some aspects of narcissism, but I think for someone to do what she's doing, I think there has to be a level of self-importance to take on what she's taken on. And maybe we should just I imagine there's people listening and they know who Candace Owens is, or they've listened to her. But maybe let's just talk about what is happening right now that's bringing this to the forefront, right?
Yeah.
I think, the way that I am on camera is probably a lot different than the way I am in my normal life. And I realize that to have an engaging YouTube channel, you kind of have to be bold and brash and opinionated and those kind of things. How am I going to get my message across? The message of you can heal from almost anything if I do this. What's up, y'all? My name's Patrick. I'm a shaman. I'm not this loud in my personal life. I'm not this bold and brash in my personal life. I'm kind of a meek, fun, loving little dude that likes to have fun and hang out. I'm not all that opinionated in my personal life, but it was either, well, how am I going to get my message across if I don't develop some sort of YouTube personality? I mean, I am kind of like this in my personal life when I get fired up, but my IBS is too bad. I can't be like this all the time. But I think that when we look at people and how they are on camera and how they are on screens, and understand that Candace Owens is revealing truth in a way that is engaging and entertaining. And if she acted all meek and mild about it, her message would not get out. My message would not get out. I mean, I learned from you guys that you guys want me to crack jokes, be opinionated, and call out bullshit. Well, this is what you want, and this is what you're going to get from me. That's what you're going to get. And I know it would make people feel some type of way. But usually the people in my personal life know what I do on YouTube. I used to tell Merrick's family, like, don't watch our videos. Why are you watching our video? Because he would, instead of talking to me, he would watch our videos. And I'm like, this is content. This isn't for family and friends. Very few people can handle watching our content. Very few people can that know us personally, because they start to confuse things. They start to think that I'm talking about them. I'm like, I don't talk about anybody in my personal life unless they're doing fucked up shit to me. So just don't do fucked up shit to me and we'll be fine. Because if somebody does fucked up shit to me, it starts affecting my health and my business and my life. And then I got to talk about why I feel the way that I do. So just don't do fucked up shit to me and we should be fine. We should be fine.
Ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. So Candace Owens is this is a recent development in terms of receiving a lawsuit against her from the President and First Lady of France, Emmanuel and Brigitte Macron. Candace published a series back in, I think, February of this year, in which she made a case that Brigitte is actually a man, which on the surface, she got laughed at and ridiculed for, like, she did an episode where she spoke about it, but then she did this series, and of what a lot of people who had no idea going into it walked away with a sense that there's a good chance she could be a man.
I remember telling Merrick's grandmother about this because we had watched, like, Candace Owens said I would stake my career on Brigitte Macron being a man. Like, I would stake my career on it. And then I was like, well, Candace has been truthful about so many different things. She's probably being truthful about this. But I watched that whole series. She's probably a guy. She probably is. But so why would that be important? Well, the truth fucking matters, doesn't it? Like, I don't think anybody, if Brigitte were to come out and say, yes, I have been living as a woman all these years, then you start to say, well, why did they push transgenderism on us so fucking hard? Okay, so if Brigitte Macron is a man, how many other first ladies are men? How many, it just brought up more questions. And I think it's important to talk about stuff like that, because if she's a man, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. I think she's probably a man.
She did this despite receiving legal letters from the president and the first lady leading up to her series. And with legal counsel, they proceeded to ask questions to decide whether they were going to proceed with the series based upon the evidence that they had collected. And the evidence that she had was not her own evidence. It was from a journalist, a well-regarded journalist, and other journalists within France that have...
And here's the other thing. People be knowing that Brigitte was a man for years over in France. It's like an open thing. Like, they know Brigitte is a man over in France. And when it came to America, it sounds crazy, because it is crazy. It is crazy. It's the most crazy, insane shit I've ever fucking heard. But what else are they lying about?
Why does Brigitte Macron always stand with her legs open at a 45-degree angle? 3 details suggest that she may not be a real woman. In the public eye, Brigitte, the beloved wife of Macron, has a different style from other first ladies. Whether it is Michelle Obama or Melania Trump, they both show elegance and dignity in public. However, Brigitte always has her legs wide open on some occasions, even more exaggerated than Macron. This detail has sparked heated discussions among netizens, and many people have guessed her real gender based on this. First of all, her walking posture is quite masculine. She takes big steps, and each step lands very heavily. There is no trace of the gentle restraint of some traditional women in her appearance. Secondly, her feet are bigger than her husband's. They are like a small boat. People guess that her shoe size is at least EU size 44. Also, some sharp-eyed netizens found in a photo that there is a distinct bulge contour on her crotch when she is wearing a long dress. Finally, she always wears clothes with collars close to her neck. Sometimes she directly wears a scarf. Why does Brigitte...
Yeah. I mean, I've hung out with some girls like that, and that we call it, they're drag queens. They are. Look at what Joe Rogan said.
Someone sent me a video of Bridget Macron's wife, face slapping him. Yeah, that's wild.
Dude, my favorite is the look into the camera once he realizes I got caught.
Yeah, that's a weird relationship.
Well, she was his teacher.
If it was a she. You ever see her sit down? Watch this. This is it. I've never seen a woman sit down like this.
Is this right when she was a teacher?
Watch this. Watch how she sits down. Bro. Someone sent me.
Bro is right. So does the truth, see, the censorship didn't work. Like Brigitte tried to censor that and it didn't work. It's out anyway. So censorship doesn't even really matter. Things come out. Like people say, well, they're going to try to shut the internet down. And, you know, I was around before the internet and shit gets out. But you know what else gets out? Rumors get out. Untrue things get out. So, this is a thorny situation for me. Because you know, even though Merrick's family lies about us and my family lies about us, what are we trying to do or get away with anyway? What are we trying to do? Hey, we're trying to make a living doing what we love, selling t-shirts, making art, and doing the damn Shaman Patrick show and doing sessions every morning. That's what we're all about. We're not trying to get one over on each other. We don't want to call people out. So that's why I say, the censorship doesn't even work anyway, because the truth gets out eventually, like it is with Miss Brigitte, Mr. Macron.
I've been researching this situation for many years. And so it's not like she just was on like Reddit or some like chat threads on the internet. This is someone who's actually published a book and they're suing him now for what they're claiming to be cyberbullying, but not defamation. And so this person published this book with all these claims, with documentation, using technology to look at these pictures that have been provided to suggest that Brigitte is actually a man formerly known as Jean-Michel Trigneau, which is her quote-unquote brother, according to their story. I'm not going to get too into the weeds, into the details. If you are curious, you can go watch the series because there's a lot to it. But what I think is quite remarkable is that most people, and I think this is what she highlights in the series, is that most people that have started to pursue this path in France have been targeted and they stopped because they use tactics, legal tactics. If that didn't work, they used other types of tactics, allegedly. And she's like, I was only going to do one episode, but when you send me these legal threats, I'm going to do a whole series about it. And that's the kind of way I felt about, and I love tying this into my personal thing. Cause I know what happened. You know, Merrick started suggesting some things about his father that his father didn't like. So his father retaliated in this way and targeted us, like got other family members involved. Maybe my family is involved in it anyway. But I told Merrick, I said, well, he overplayed his hand. I mean, when he said that we should stop doing YouTube and that I should go get a minimum wage job, even though I was too sick to work my last job, I said, well, your dad overplayed his hand. Like if he would have just, you know, helped us out a little bit, gave us some emotional support at least, but we probably wouldn't have known just how terrible it all was. And I mean, I don't want here, Merrick and I were talking about this. Like I would never encourage somebody to go get just a job
a minimum wage job unless they were in their first year of recovery. And I would always encourage people to do what they could to go for their dreams, the thing that would give them the maximum income potential. And when Merrick's father told us to file for bankruptcy, give up on this YouTube stuff. It's not going to work out. And I'll help you out if I get control of your finances again. I'm like, man, he overplayed his hand. He wants control. He wants subjugation. He wants to destroy us. And Merrick is like, yes, they overplayed their hand. And so I said, well, I got to do this YouTube thing now because there's nothing else I can do. He overplayed his hand. And many times when governments and corporations and they overplay their hand and the truth gets revealed anyway, it actually becomes crystal fucking clear when they go for those mass censorship and mass control things. The truth gets revealed anyway. And I would much rather be telling a different story about my family and Merrick. I really, really would. Maybe I'll be able to tell a different story someday. Maybe somebody will say, oh, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Maybe somebody will apologize. But I know they haven't really come. I've got no I'm sorries from my family yet. I've got no I'm sorries from Merrick's family yet. So until I get those I'm sorries, I know they're not there. I know they haven't healed from that yet. I know they're still up to no good. But that, we didn't get I'm sorries for COVID. We didn't get I'm sorries for the vax shit. We didn't get I'm sorries for any of that stuff. And I don't think we ever will from governments, from families or cultures or whatever. And as I end this episode today, you can watch that whole podcast if you want to. That's the first 17 minutes of that podcast. They go into a lot of other great things too. But I used all of this as an example to tell you that the censorship doesn't even matter. People can censor you all they want and it doesn't even matter because the truth always comes out. It might take a few years or a few lifetimes or whatever, but if you're afraid of censorship, I would be most concerned about self-censorship. I would be more concerned about what are you not speaking up about in your own personal life? And I think that, these kinds of things getting reflected out in the collective. Is there anything you're not speaking up about? Is there anything that you're not sharing? I was willing to silently bear the burdens of other people and it made me sick. These people are not going to pay my doctor's bills. I was so stressed out by these people. I ground my teeth down. I was so stressed out. I was grinding my teeth at night. These people did not pay for my dentures. You see, if somebody is silencing you and they're making you share their burdens, they're going to have to pay me for that in the future. They're going to have to pay me for the privilege of keeping their burdens. I mean, I don't share people's secrets, but again, if you do something fucked up to me, I'm gonna have to say something about it. Even if they don't think it's fucked up. I told them this is fucked up. What you're doing is messed up. And they're like, no, it's not. No, it's not. I even said, go to Al-Anon, go to a therapist, run this by some other people. Gaslighting is abuse. I'm not gaslighting. I'm not lying. And I'm like, oh, honey, I used to be there too. Alcoholics are all the same. All addicts, alcoholics, egoics, they all act the same. It's a boring script. It's just boring. So as I end this episode today, I want to thank you all for joining me for this episode and watching through to the end. Now, the song we've got today called Truth Got Receipts, it's a heavier song. It's a little like Rage Against the Machine, but the truth always comes out. And if you live in truth, the universe loves truth. Speaking the truth might be a little uncomfortable at first, but eventually you'll find that people respect you. People come to me because they know I'm going to tell them the truth. People come to me because they know that I'm going to give it to them straight. And you might be disrespected by people who need to live in a world of lies, but the real people will respect you for speaking the truth and nothing but the truth, even when it's uncomfortable or unpopular. Those are the real G's. And so thank you for being my people. I love you so much. So at this point in the episode, I will see you tomorrow for the extended Saturday special about Twin Flames Universe. But for now, enjoy this song called Truth Got Receipts.
They censor the signal, distort the transmission, but source in my ear, I don't need permission. They black out facts, rewrite the past, but I blast through the static, the spell won't last. You try to shut me up, you just lit the fuse. Now truth on the rise and we got nothing to lose. Politicians a puppet with a polished facade, but they can't out the whisper of God. I ain't looking for a savior, I'm tuned to the source. While they selling that fear, I'm changing my course. Every lie they tell, just fuel for my mission. Every shadow they cast, burns sharper vision.
They try to hide it, but the truth got receipts. Divine inbox blowing up with league beats. History's a remix, facts on delete. But God got the file in permanent repeat. You can censor the voice, but the vibe don't die. You just prove them right when you cover the sky. What's true is true, what's false gon' fall. I'm plugging to the source, so I see it all.
Fake news on the loop like a hypnotic sham. What prophets get shadow banned for saying can, but I can and I will. I've been cracked and healed. I spit that forbidden scroll they tried to seal. Corruption's a mask on a mannequin king, and every little glitch makes the angels sing. They thought silence was power, now silence is bait. The quiet ones rise with the truth they cultivate. We keep having awakenings, download on blast. Whole timeline shifting like it's quantum jazz. They edit the book, but forgot the author. The plot twist harder when you serve the Father.
They try to hide it, but the truth got receipts. Divine inbox blowing up with league beats. History's a remix, facts on the leak. But God got the file in permanent repeat. You can censor the voice, but the vibe don't die. You just prove them right when you cover the sky. What's true is true, what's false gon' fall. I'm plugging to the source, so I seen it all.
They said stay quiet, but silence is compliance when the system's lying. They said trust the experts, but the experts sold out. They said this is history, but history's a lie agreed upon by the loud. I don't need a fact check, I got soul GPS, and it rewrotes every time the devil tries to flex it. Truth got receipts. Receive the truth. Truth got receipts. Receive the truth.
They try to hide it, but the truth got receipts. Divine inbox blowing up with leak beats. History's a remix, facts on the leak. But God got the file in permanent repeat. You can censor the voice, but the vibe don't die. You just prove them right when you cover the sky. What's true is true, what's false gon' fall. I'm plugging to the source and I've seen it all.
The truth don't panic, it just waits. While the lies ride under the weight of their own fakeness. Let them edit the script. We're writing in spirit ink now. Unerasable, undeniable.